Okay, it's 6:33. The June 16th meeting of the Conservation Commission is opening, but we do not have a quorum. So we are going to go into recess until 7 p.m. When we will have a quorum for 1 hour, and we will be doing only part of the schedule agenda there to deal with permitting as needed, and some things will be deferred to our next meeting. In that case, we are going to go into recess for until 7 o'clock, and I am going to stop the recording, and I'll start it later. Okay, thank you for turning it on.
I got you back.
Okay, it's 7:03, and with the presence of a quorum, that the Concom Conservation Commission meeting of June 16th, the open session is now in session. I'm stopping to share this. Thank you for everybody coming here. Okay, I'm going to start. Since we only have about an hour of a quorum, I'm going to try to see people. I might move a little quickly and people could slow me down. We'll just see how it goes. I just want to cover a few things here up front before our 7:20 RDA that we could do. I'm going to start with the fact that given the recent resignations, that we no longer have a chair and a co-chair, I would like to move that myself and Courtney serve as co-chairs for the Conservation Commission until otherwise reconsidered.
I will second that I'm willing to offer myself up.
Right. So since we do need a chair discussion, we do need a chair. So any discussion? Okay, I'm going to do a roll call vote. Carol?
Aye.
Jessica? Jessica, you there?
Jessica,
We can come back around to her.
Michael, aye.
Courtney, aye.
Aye. And Jessica might be.
Hi, sorry, I'm here. I'm having some technical difficulties, so I have to switch to my iPad.
Okay.
Okay, well,
The audio is cutting in and on me, and it's on my end.
Okay. Yep. Thank you. So 4-0, we now have the honors of being the co-chairs. When we have more members of the commission, we can reconsider this if people are interested in such. Moving through, I want to just recognize the administrative approvals. There are many of them. There are about 10 of them. They have all been reviewed, and they are all out of jurisdiction and have all been approved. So just wanted to acknowledge the administrative approvals. I do want to see if there's a quick issue. There's a land acquisition question of a small parcel that was part of a hazardous site issue that we dealt with many years ago.
So this was under land management.
No, it's under discussions.
My mistake.
Land acquisition that I'll see if it's quick enough. Basically, that is a site that has some environmental issues. It's not clear that there's a full environmental report available on it. It's very small. I don't think it's going to add much to our continuity of any open spaces or other things, because it's not developable anyway. I would say due to the environmental liabilities that we do not suggest that the town take this property, even though it is in the buffer zone and wetlands. It's protected in that sense that way. Is that something that anybody feels differently about or wants to talk about more?
I wanted to just, I saw the email, but it's too bad that Kelly didn't come and give us more of a description, because I'm not familiar with property. In general, I feel like we've had a policy lately of not accepting donations of lands, but given the pressure of the development pressures in town, I would be more inclined to start accepting donations of wetlands just because.
I'll just say to you, it's not a developable lot. It's a very small parcel. It's like less than an
0.3
acre.
acres.
It's
0.3.
0.3 acres. It's not developable at all.
Where
So-
is it exactly?
It's on the farm pond. I guess I'm going to say that
It's actually on
uh,
Farm Pond.
it's on the wetlands adjacent to farm pond. I guess if we're going to have to go through that, then I don't think we have time to.
Yeah, I think we should just do it. There doesn't sound like a huge amount of pressure. Maybe have Kelly come back and show.
Well, I mean, they're gonna, no, the owners want to know if they could sell it. Either they might have to reply, and maybe they'll have to reply without us since.
I mean,
we-
knowing that it is on Farm Pond, to me, gives it more.
But it has a tremendous financial liability because the 21E, the environmental risks, this is a contaminated site that I don't think the town should do for environmental reasons and there's nobody's going to do anything anyway. Having the town have it will not add any extra protection whatsoever.
Michael,
But,
it's not so much, I just feel like it's hard for me to make an independent decision because.
Fine, then we will just put it off because there's no
Information
time. Fine. Then we're going to put it off. If they have to make a decision without us, they will. Okay, moving on to trying to go down the list of announcements. The Greenwood, 56 Greenwood has requested a certificate of compliance. This is the thing that was quite complicated because because the things have changed in what is enforced as a wetland protection since so the issue is that this property is asking that there no longer is a vernal pool habitat that is enforced by the Conservation Commission. And therefore, what you see here in this diagram is previously it'd be another 100 feet, which would be issues here that there was supposed to be meadow here as opposed to lawn over the septic. But instead it's lawn, but it's no longer in our jurisdiction. And it was we were probably exceeding we were going beyond our jurisdiction when we wrote that order of conditions. And so one option is that along this area here, there have been placed 7 signs of our monuments. One about here, here, here. This is a very defined edge of lawn. There's 7 of them going all the way around here that they've posted. And whether that gives and it's a lot of nice vegetation, it's all quite natural here. Whether that's a reasonable position to grant a certificate of compliance. I would accept that, given that the old order is not something that we would put in place today.
Yeah. So just to add to that, I contacted the DEP circuit rider to get some clarification on it. And she said that because the 200-foot buffer around the vernal pools was never in the bylaw, then it was never a jurisdictional area that we could regulate. So that's kind of where we're at. I think, that goes back to the original issue that, it was something we had put in our regulations, but it wasn't in the bylaw, which is, voted on at town meeting. So that's the only way we can expand our jurisdiction. So she gave me examples like other places, like maybe it's Framingham has a 150-foot buffer zone around wetlands, and that's in a bylaw. And we didn't have that at the time. it in the regulations, unfortunately.
And it's not in our bylaw now because we thought about trying to
Correct.
do it back then.
Right.
And we ran into some resistance and we had to do a lot of work that we didn't do. So I would like to move that with the signs there that give some protection there that's even outside of our jurisdiction now, but they put up these signs that will hopefully protect quite an extensive area that I would like to move that we grant the order or the certificate of compliance.
I will second that. And for discussion, I will also add that when I spoke with the circuit rider, I also asked about whether it was kosher to issue, close this out when the items on the original order were not all completed. And she said that is perfectly valid, especially if the original, if the conditions have basically changed from what they were. The commission is well within our purview to just say, this is good enough. Say like the signs, we want the signs and that's good enough. And the other stuff doesn't make sense right now. She said that was perfectly reasonable. So just to put that information out there to think about before we vote.
Any other discussion? Carol?
Question. So I'm looking at this edge of lawn, and then, so the 100-foot wetland buffer is well beyond the edge of lawn.
That's
Right,
correct.
there's lines
Does
here.
is the vernal, and that's also reflects,
That reflects the vernal pool
Yeah.
issue.
let me finish. Yeah, let me ask this. Do our bylaws now include vernal pools as protected by the 100-foot wetland buffer? Is that how it's treated now?
I don't think vernal pools are in our bylaw. They're
But
just,
wouldn't they be considered a wetland then?
yes, that's why
Yes.
these are considered wetlands, and that's
Yeah.
why, that's
Okay,
what.
so we're basically saying, looking at this, that the entire lawn is outside jurisdiction.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other discussion before I vote? Okay, I'll say, Jessica? Roll
Can you
call.
repeat the motion? Sorry, Michael.
Motion is to grant a certificate of compliance based on what is in place currently, which includes this plan here with the fact that they've put up signs, 7 monument signs around the edge of the lawn to not go to expand the lawn at the edge of lawn.
Well, I have a question about that. If their lawn is actually outside of jurisdiction, how can we ask them to put signs?
They offered to do it. We didn't ask for it. They offered to do it. So I agree. I mean, I don't think, if they took it down, I would probably grant the certificate anyway, but they've offered to do that. And they've done it. They've sent us proof. So I
They
would.
did it already? Oh.
Yes.
So does it really matter? I just don't want to,
Okay, then maybe we should just.
I don't
okay,
wanna
I'll
attach
amend my
something
order.
that-
I'll amend it.
yeah,
Just so
what
that
Carol's saying
Accepting
makes a lot of
existing
sense.
Conditions.
Yeah.
That the existing conditions are sufficient to grant a certificate of compliance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
would
good point,
second that
Carol.
motion. It sounds like you've revised your motion.
Yes, right. I withdrew the other one and revised it, and you've seconded it. Okay. Now I'll say, Jessica, now we're voting. Roll call vote. Jessica,
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
Courtney,
Aye.
Michael, aye. Okay, so we have dealt with the Greenwood issue. We have 4 minutes left. The Pleasant Street issue, we'll see if we can do that. Have people looked at the Pleasant Street's going to take a little more than 4 minutes. I'm trying to think of whether we have that BSC contract to do work as needed to support our effort. And that has been in the Dropbox, which is just basically allows us to get something in place, and then as work comes up, we would come up with a scope of work that would then get approved by us and finalized with a budget.
Michael, I'm sorry to interrupt you. It sounds like you're familiar with what this is. Can you give it a summary of what the BSC contract is for?
Unless you've read it, I don't think there's going to be time to summarize it, and we'll just have to put it off to the next meeting. Was in the
I think I could
Dropbox.
summarize it quickly.
Okay.
So this is a contract with Matt Burns specifically or it's a draft contract that needs to be approved by the Conservation Commission for expert assistance by him as needed. And so anytime, as Michael was saying, anytime that there was something that was beyond the skill or capacity of the agent, that we would give him a description of what that is, and he would come back to us with a, like Michael said, I don't think it's exactly called a scope of work, but it might, for like, okay, like a sort of a mini contract, but that wouldn't have to go through the commission every time. That could then be reviewed by the agent to look at how much it would cost him to do that particular task and how much time he would put into it. And so this is not for any particular tasks at all. The contract isn't, it's just within mind that we might need the assistance of, to be able to have him on call.
It's called a master contract, as you see on the screen. I think it's showing there. And we would do it, it's task order based as needed. So it's.
No, thank you, Anna. That reminded me that Jean proposed this and she summarized it, and thank you for that summary.
So the question is whether we want to approve this, subject if I find any, or the chairs find any little edits to be made, that whether we can approve this now or we could put it off. But I would move that we approve this. I've read through it. It's fairly basic, and it's just a matter of when we come up with individual scopes of work for task orders. And I would still like to think that much of this would come before the commission anyway.
I second that we approve this. I thought it was a great idea to begin with, and we certainly need it more now than ever.
Okay. And it's also times when we just don't have the staff in place, not just the capability, as it's called on-call consulting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have a second. Any more discussion? Okay. Roll call vote. Jessica?
Aye.
Carol?
Aye.
Courtney?
Aye.
Michael? Aye. Okay, so we dealt with that. Now it's 7:20. It's time for the request for determination.
And Mr. McIntyre is here.
Right. Do you want to pull up something, Dan, or should I pull it up? What do you want?
I can do it.
Okay, fine. I will stop sharing. And
There we go. Good evening.
okay, you have the place.
All right. Can everyone see that?
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay. So the homeowners at 2 Morse are having problems with their septic system, and we were retained to design a new one. They're not selling their house. They just had some breakout and backup on their existing system. So to orientate you, we've got Lake Street along the bottom of the page, Morse Road coming up on the left-hand side. This is a corner lot on Lake and Morse. The house was constructed in 1972. The driveway is coming off of Morse right in this area here. There's a wetland, very kind of a large complex wetland down in this area here. We had that delineated by Goddard Consulting. It takes up pretty much of the backyard and is also fed by a drainage culvert coming off the storm drainage from Morse Road in this drainage easement on the property. The existing system is in the front yard right here. and we're proposing to replace it in the same location. It's really the only practical place to put a septic system on this lot. And as you'll see from the yellow lines, this is the 50-foot buffer here and the 100-foot buffer here that comes up into the front yard. The leaching trenches are outside the 100-foot buffer, but we are replacing the septic tank right here by the front steps, and the pipe going up to the house is within the 100-foot buffer. And you can see on the photograph, the pipe comes out of the house about where the American flag is, and the tank is up in this lawn area here. It's all lawn there now. It'll be returned to lawn. There are a couple of trees right here outside jurisdictional areas that we're recommending come down because of the extensive root system all through the front yard that we think impacted the existing leaching system. It'll be returned to lawn when we're done. We're proposing to put some erosion controls along the edge of the driveway to make sure nothing washes down there and heads toward the backyard, as well as over in this area here, just to block that off from going back down to the backyard. Construction access is going to be directly off Morse Road here, and there'll be probably some stockpiling right in this area here as they dig this out and truck off the excess soil. And with that, I think I can turn it over for questions.
Sure. Thank you for that. So the only thing that's in our jurisdiction is the tank right in front of the house in the in that existing lawn area. That'll be
Yes.
worked on and then restored. So there's relatively little activity. There's no stockpiling in our jurisdiction or any.
No.
Okay. And this is, okay. So I see this as basically quite straightforward as a -3 with a few limited conditions. But I'll let's see if anybody else has questions.
Sorry, I'm sorry, Michael. The draft conditions are in,
Yeah, I see that there. I have some questions about some of them, but yes, but okay. I wanted to see if anybody else had any questions.
No, I mean, I don't see where else it would go.
All right.
Pretty straightforward.
I'll share let's see if nobody has. So the only conditions I would see, I'm looking at the draft, is that essentially the erosion control, and that there's no equipment storage or stockpiling in the 100-foot buffer zone. And in a way, and that I guess that any work in the buffer zone is restored to its prior condition, which would be the only 3 conditions I would have there. I see in the thing that you put in there, Anna, that one thing is irrelevant, number 6, but I don't think for this work, the only other issue is for this level of work that's so barely in there, we have not often asked for anything more in terms of markers, since that's in a whole other part of the project area. And it's unclear where the edges of any lawns and other things are. So I would actually not go there at this point. Those conditions, yeah.
Michael, a couple things is that you mentioned no equipment storage or stockpiling, but also or access within 100 foot. I mean, Dan said that the access would be on Morse Road, but
Okay,
it is
fine.
on a corner, so we want to make sure that there's no access from.
So we'll add that, no equipment, stockpiling, or access within the 100 foot. Okay, that's.
On the question of markers, we've pretty consistently been asking people to put in markers when they come before us. I have not had a chance to look at it, but if there are wooded areas or, more natural areas along that 50-foot, that seems like a really appropriate place to actually put markers now.
Yeah,
But
I'm trying to figure
I
out.
haven't been to a site visit to look and see where it might be appropriate to do that. I think that might be worth doing.
Well, we're trying, this is an RDA, which is different than an NOI. I'm trying to
Maybe
think.
Dan can advise on that.
Yeah, the wetland is pretty well defined here. It's almost, it's the channel up in here, and down here is, pretty much the base of the slope. But I don't think the homeowner would object to putting up some medallions or something out there.
Well, actually, we've been putting them out at the, more like at the 50 or the
50.
60.
So
We've been putting them in areas where there's existing lawn, often where there's existing lawn that's in the buffer zone, so that the lawn does not expand into the buffer zone is the principle.
Dan, where's the existing lawn back there? Like, does it go right up to the wetland? I know some of these older houses it does.
Not quite. You can kind of see the tree line on the side here where we picked up,
Yeah,
and it tends to follow along down toward the well and
Okay,
then back up.
because
So
that's
you can
another
see
thing
the-
we've done, like put them
We've
on the
got
trees.
paved
at the tree
driveway right in
line.
the 50-foot buffer already.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would recommend at least putting markers along the tree line there so
Yeah.
that, another owner doesn't come along and think, oh, maybe I can expand my lawn down in this direction. And then suddenly you don't have any trees over the wetlands.
so let's see, so we want to have, we can put a condition that some number of markers that will be decided with the agent, that'll be along the edge of the tree line, because I don't think we could pick them tonight, and I'd like to let this work start proceeding. So we're going to have a third condition of some of the markers, wetland markers. Do we think that probably like three? Do you think it's like 4 of them in that length of along the tree line? That's inside the buffer zone, the 50-foot buffer. That 50 inside the tree line that goes around in there. Do you think like 4 markers we could find places for that they would work with?
I think we could.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have 4 markers along the existing edge of the natural buffer zone. Buffers of the inner buffer zone to be agreed, to be selected with the agent.
Mike,
should we say the agent or the
Commission.
designee of the commission? Yeah.
The agent or a designee.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have those 3 conditions. Is everybody
Michael,
fine with that?
can you repeat what you said? Because we said the edge of the tree line, but from what Dan said, that's not the same as the 50-foot buffer line.
Right, I'm
what-
saying that tree line that's within
Yeah.
the 50-foot buffer zone.
within the, okay. That
The
sounds great.
existing lawn. Yeah.
Any other issues? Because I'll move that this is a -3 RDA with conditions.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Jessica? Thank you. Carol?
Aye.
Courtney?
Aye.
Michael? Aye. Okay, so we've dealt with that there.
All right, thank you very much.
It's always good to get the breakout to stop.
All right.
Yeah, if you could get something over to Ellen as soon as possible, we need to get on their agenda, so that would be helpful.
Okay, this is an RDA, so that should be simpler to do. Okay, Anna, let
Thank
me
you.
know if there's any issues with getting that out soon, Anna. I could work with Joyce about it if needed. Okay, so we've got, let's see, going back to the agenda here. So at 7:50, we have a notice of intent. Until then, we can go back to some issues here. Let's see. We did the contract. We're not going to cover some topics here of things that we're trying to make sure we get done. I guess we can go back to Pleasant Street maybe and try to figure out what might be,
Did you do a vote on the BSC contract?
yes. We approved it 4-0. So let's go to the site issues on Pleasant Street. So we deal with the regulatory stuff here while we can. Let's see.
I can describe that, and Michael, if you can pull up some of the items, just some reference item from the Dropbox, maybe.
Let's see.
I would say the one that starts with SKM might be the best one. Yeah, so scroll down to the next part and then zoom in on the highlighted part. So this is an order of conditions that is existing for an addition, and it is within our jurisdiction. As you can see the 50 and the 100 there. And
Michael, I think you might be able to rotate that. Up at the top, there's a control that looks like it'll allow you to rotate it.
And you want to rotate, okay. Not quite sure which way do you want to rotate it?
Well, it'll start rotating and then you can get it so that we're reading it. Just keep going around till it. That looks
That'll do.
right.
Is that what you like?
Yep.
this is the project was in progress. We had already had our pre-construction meeting, and they found that the pipe between the house and the septic system is compromised and needs to be replaced. And so it's necessary to replace the pipe, and they can't go forward with continuing with the project that we've approved under the order of conditions. They can't go forward with the foundation until they replace this pipe. And it is an existing pipe. The pipe is existing exactly where the replacement will go. And it's all within the existing limit of work, which is the erosion controls that the commission conditioned and that I have been out and inspected. And so my recommendation is that we write a letter to the applicant saying that we're allowing this pipe to be, this existing pipe within the limit of work to be replaced, and that we're going to allow that under the existing order of conditions, and then that would, for the next step, like that would bump it to the Board of Health, which would be able to issue their permit for the replacement. So there is another diagram in the Dropbox which shows the relationship of the pipe to the rest of the septic system, but it doesn't show where it is in relation to the buffer zone. So you can have to see one or the other.
Can you, before we switch, could we, Michael, could you kind of indicate where the buffer zone is? My recollection is that practically the whole area is in the buffer.
Right, there was that stream here because, right, and they had that existing area that was doing, they were putting in that, they already had this work, there was like a porch or deck there that they're fixing up. Here's the 50-foot and here's the 100-foot.
Yeah, I thought
they were doing work here that we permitted based on the fact that it was already altered buffer zone. And this is working already, and this was all lawn. So there's still, and it's even a temporary disturbance. The pipe work is a temporary disturbance. And so, and it's within the same area that they're currently disturbing, that we've already given them permission to disturb. with the current order of conditions.
Anna, I think if there's one thing I would caution, and maybe we reemphasize in the letter, is that I remember we basically said that all, equipment could not come down between the intermittent stream and the house. Everything has to come down on the other side of the driveway entrance. And that even though that pipe is kind of on the other, closer to the stream, we want to be sure that all equipment is still coming from that direction. I think that was one condition. Am I correct?
Yeah, you're right.
So you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, and they did install construction fencing there, but I can reiterate that.
Right, and you should, if you check it and make sure that the erosion control's in good shape since they're working so close. Even though it is I remember here it was all lawn anyway, except there wasn't much of a natural buffer zone. Even for the stream, it was only just a few feet there. We had to put markers, I think just right along here even, right next to the stream, I remember. And most of the buffer zone is on the other side. That's natural. Okay.
The other thing I might suggest is that unlike the deck where I think they were just going to do essentially, I didn't think there was a lot of soil disturbance. I don't know what other people remember, but we might need to specify that if there's any soil stockpiling, it has to, again, be on the other side. It should be covered so that it isn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't we, it may have been specified in the order that it was going to be on the driveway, perhaps?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's all
Yeah.
there. That would have been,
Yeah.
I doubt that we could have forgotten that.
No, I remember we discussed.
Yeah,
it.
right.
Did we? Okay. Or maybe Anna, if you check. That
Good
would be-
memory.
Or we could just put it in I agree with your idea that even in the letter that reinforced those
Good
points.
idea.
That,
That it'd be covered. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I
and-
think it's going to be a bigger quantity. They're going to have to dig a trench there.
all right. I can't tell if this is any different really. No, that seems to be about the same. Okay, I mean, it does seem like they're doing it there and it is needed for the septic and that it is important to get it in place so that they can move ahead with the septic work. And it's an improvement in terms of it lessens the probability of any future septic problems, which are given how close it is to the wetland. It'd be nice to reduce that future risk from a leakage by replacing an older pipe.
Yeah, I think that's.
Mhm.
Anna, will they need to move the erosion control barrier out to accommodate this?
I don't believe so, no. It's all within, it's all within the existing limit of work.
Okay.
Okay, so that then I guess I would just move that we amend that we make this moderate change to the order of conditions to include this activity. And that all the other conditions in the cover it, but we will reinforce it in the letter. Cover protecting all the other existing order of conditions cover all of the protective activities that we need for this new activity.
Michael, is that a motion to amend
Yes.
the order of conditions
Yes.
as well as send a letter emphasizing the conditions?
Yes, correct. Well put.
Thank
Okay,
you, Carol. Thank you.
I'll second.
I was about to ask him to say it again. I'm so slow.
Thank
I
you.
can't follow tonight.
Sometimes it's hard to, think and run. Okay, was that a second?
It was.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay. Jessica's reading forward. Jessica, roll call vote.
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
Courtney,
Aye.
Michael, aye. Okay, we've dealt with Pleasant Street. I go back to the agenda of stuff. And let's see, if we're gonna go to we have 9 minutes before the, there, I see we have invoking, okay, that's part of the NOI, the discussion item. Although I don't know if there's anything. I guess in our regulations, did you put in here our regulations about consultants? Is that something that got put in here anywhere?
Our regulations, no. I could pull it up in just a second.
Okay.
Michael, what are you referring to?
They're on the agenda, and I think, as I was going to say, that when we get to the next NOI, I guess we'll talk about it there, but it got put as it somehow got put as a discussion item when it should have been underneath the NOI, so maybe I won't say anything at the moment about it.
Okay, I think I see the one you're talking about. Okay.
That should have been in a different place. So, is there a warrant, by the way? Well, I guess Ann is looking at something else.
You're asking for too many things at once.
Yes, no, I'm trying to see if we get things through here since we're having a limited meeting here to see, but we're making.
There isn't a warrant there, but there are the minutes from Steph Harrison.
Yeah, I haven't reviewed it, so I'm not prepared to do that, and we only have 7 minutes. I don't feel like we're going to put that off to the next agenda.
Since we only have a few minutes, should we just go through the administrative approvals and check that off the agenda?
Well, I did that briefly in the beginning when I said that I made a note of them and that all of them were outside. I didn't read them off, but I noted that there were 10 of them, so that.
All that were listed on the agenda?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that got covered. We've done the agent's report. We're not going to do tree. The warrant we did, not do the minutes. The Farm Road Homes 40B project we're going to do at our next meeting, which will still be in time to give comments to there. We've talked about the BSC contract. There's a separate thing on the regulations work. Just see it. Oh, I've sent out an email to Matt to see where the status is of the work that he was doing for us for our regulatory hearing. That's going to open next week. So that I haven't heard back, so I can't report. I can't give an update on that at the moment. Announcements. I don't know if anybody had any announcements. That's often Jean would have some. Let's see. Okay, thank you for letting her in. Okay. Then I guess we have a few minutes. I guess Anna's, I don't know if she's looking up the consultant thing to put in.
I have it pulled up in front of me. I'm not going to be able to put it in, but I can share my screen.
Okay. Well, let's see here. I just want to pull up here. Oops.
You're still sharing your screen.
Okay, let me pull that up here. Oops. Hi, James. You're now officially in our meeting.
Oh, hi.
I'm glad you find our meeting entertaining. Let's see. For everybody who's just tuned in here, we are awaiting the 7:50 p.m. opening of the notice of intent on the 0 Washington Street notice of intent. The discussion will be brief and continued till just in advance. because the meeting is going to be ending at about 7:58, because then we will be losing our quorum due to some change in our membership. We are having difficulty having a full quorum for the full agenda tonight. So we will be, so are we, I guess, where did we resolve the issue of green cards? How did we resolve the issue of that we don't have, we have the mailed thing there. How did we resolve the issue of,
Well, I don't think we know if the post office has made an attempt to deliver. Like, I think they make 3 attempts. And then they let you know that they tried to, but then no dice. I think that's how it works. But
no, I'm just trying to figure
You
out
want me
what
to read
we've
from
done.
from our regulations?
It's on, what do we have?
yeah,
in
go
our
ahead.
regs?
Okay, public notice, at the time of the hearing and before the hearing opens, the applicant must present a list of all abutters within 100 feet, blah, blah, blah. Along with an affidavit of service certifying that all abutters received notice of the filing. I think that's what the green cards do. The applicant should send notices by certified mail, return receipt requested, and present the return receipts at the hearing meeting. Applicants other than the property owner must submit a statement of proof of vested interest in the property, blah, blah, blah. Notice of the time and place of the hearing shall be given by the commission at the expense of the applicant, not less than 5 days prior to the hearing, by publication in newspaper of general circulation in Sherborn. Do we do that 5-day notice?
That stuff is done. The question is
I would say that it
whether we
clearly says
have,
here that the applicant must present the return receipts at the hearing meeting, which I think are the green cards.
yes, we've had that. I don't know. I see a guest, whether Bob is here, whether he can, I don't see DeShang.
I mean, he may be in 2 meetings at once. So
Yeah,
I
I
got
know.
an email from Dr. Wang Duchesne just before our meeting saying that Mr. Murchison, Bob, would be at the meeting and that Dr. Wang would not be able to be here.
I would say on the question of green cards that our regulations are really clear, that we're supposed to.
Question is, do we open the or do we even open the hearing, or are we?
It says at the time of the hearing and before the hearing opens, the applicant must present a list certifying that all abutters receive it. The applicant should send notices and present the return receipts at the hearing meeting. So it's not absolutely clear. It's basically saying at the hearing, they must be presented. So possibly we can open the hearing. It's not absolutely clear to me. Although it does say at the time of the hearing and before the hearing opens, these things are supposed to happen.
The other things are all set. It's just the green cards that are outstanding.
Well, and that's.
Okay, it's 7:50. So the question is, do I need to read the notice of a public hearing and open it? And then we will have to continue it until whether we open it and continue it until we get the green cards or some proof of delivery, if the green cards haven't come back. Or we don't open the hearing at all. I mean, I guess, right. I guess we've done that. We've gone through this dilemma a few times, and I'm trying to remember. But it sounds like from reading it that we probably shouldn't even open the hearing, because without the green cards, it's not complete.
I would agree with that. It's not complete.
I don't know what other people are thinking. I don't know. What do you think, Jessica or Courtney?
Really not sure what we're supposed to do administratively in this
Yeah,
case. Yeah.
it's one of those thorny little things where we'd like to, I mean, we weren't going to do much tonight anyway there, but I don't know if Bob is actually here. I see his picture under the name of guest.
And Brian's raising his hand.
I guess,
Well,
Brian,
maybe this will clarify. Let me read this really carefully. At the time of the hearing and before the hearing opens, the applicant must present a list But then it also says, along with an affidavit of service certifying that all butters received notice of the filing. Is the affidavit of service meant to be the green cards? Are people?
The
Yeah.
affidavit is in the application itself, which is sort of a tricky thing because the NOI has to be submitted to us before we tell them when it is, and they need to know when it is to be able to notify the abutters.
Oh, okay, you're right. Appendix C is the affidavit.
Yes, I'll let you, while we do this, or think about it, I guess, Brian, do you have something pertinent to this particular issue?
I just wanted, is this okay to speak now?
Yes. If it's
Thank you.
pertinent to this immediate, yeah.
Brian Moore, 49 Farm Road. I just wanted to make sure that, the board does not do something administratively, which is going to either start a clock or wind up putting themselves in some kind of administrative bouillabaisse in like 60 to 90 days because it did or did not open the hearing correctly. And that's all I have.
We exactly are wrestling with that, but
Right.
Thank you.
we don't have a time frame to, if we say that if we don't open the hearing, the clock hasn't clicked on that because it hasn't, because we're saying that the green cards were not submitted or some there. What were you going to say, Courtney?
I just feel like, a lot of times when we had in-person meetings, the green cards would be presented at the meeting. So it's a little bit tricky here with a virtual thing. And I thought there was something about, a time to open the hearing, rather than like how long the hearing can go on for.
Right. That's why there's a part of me that doesn't mind opening it and then saying we're going to continue it.
Exactly. I would prefer to just open it and say, we can't do anything right now till we get the green cards.
Well, what our regulations say is a hearing date will be scheduled within 21 days of the filing of a complete notice of intent. So that's one thing. The other thing I wanted to bring up, and again, this goes to the question of, are we opening the hearing? Is that when I looked at the notice of intent, there was an inconsistency that maybe Mr. Murchison can address, that in part B, point 7A, as this is on page 4 of WPA Form 3, the project type is listed as other. And then later on part, it says 7A project type other. And then in the part, it's on another page 4, strangely, even though they're both WPA Form 3. It asks whether it's exempt from Mass DEP stormwater management standards. And there's a checkbox that says no, and that's why it's exempt. Check why exempt. And then under it, it's checked as single family home. So one question I would ask, in the first instance, it also could have been checked as single family home. But then in the second instance, it was checked as single family home. So it's not clear what kind of project this is, whether it's an other, which I don't know what that means, but presumably it's okay to check that box. But then in that first instance, they actually didn't check single family home, and then it's checked in the second instance. So maybe Mr. Murchison could clarify that, because I think that goes to, is the NOI complete as submitted?
Well, I think we should get that clarified in the green cards. I think to play it safer, I would like to open the hearing and then continue it to get these things cleaned up and take that tack.
Well, I have a quick question about that, Michael. If the other actually is something like a 40B, once we open the hearing, does that start a clock on the 40B process that will, then constrain what we're doing?
If it's a 40B, then we wouldn't be seeing it in this. I don't think we'd be seeing
The
this.
clock thing is with regards to like the ZBA. The ZBA would do their own permit. We would do things under the state.
Just so you know, we only have 2 minutes left.
Right. So we just need to do something now, one way or the other, because we're about to lose quorum in like 30 seconds. So
Yeah, God, I guess we should have clarified some of these issues earlier there, since we received the NOI back in, it was dated in May.
it is what it is. Wherever we are.
So,
So make a motion to open the hearing or not?
or I could just open it and then say
Yeah.
we're just going to continue it.
Yeah.
And whether that's the safest thing to do at this
And the
point.
expert consultant thing is the most important thing to cover right now.
Yeah, but I don't think we're going to get to that at all. We're going to have to do that at the next meeting. I'm going to read the opening of it. And if it turns out that that wasn't appropriate, we could just we might have to revise it. I think it's safer to just open it, even if that turned out to be the wrong thing. I feel a little safer doing it that way. I'm going to do that. This is a notice of a public hearing of the Conservation Commission. Notice hereby giving the Conservation Commission Town of Sherborn hold virtual public meeting at 7:50 on June 16th. It's a virtual meeting. The hearing will be held pursuant to the General Laws 131, the Wetlands Protection Act, and the Sherborn Bylaw. For consider proposal by Creative Land and Water Engineering on behalf of Robert Murchison for soil testing and associated clearing work to take place at 0 Washington Street, map 7, lot 49 in Sherborn. Work will be formed within the 100-foot buffer zone. This application is available for viewing at the Conservation Commission. All persons deserving to be heard will be given opportunity to speak at the hearing. The green cards haven't been presented, and we have a question about the NOI. I would like to now move, what time could we move this hearing to on July 7th? Anna?
Let's take a look at the agenda, which is in the.
Please, just tell me, I don't have time. We're going to lose. I thought agenda is where?
Hold on, I'm pulling it up. 7:30 is land management, and that's it.
What, that's not right.
Is that the wrong one?
I would say 9:30.
I have it here.
Continue it to 9:30.
We have an NOI for.
Oh, there it is. Yep.
So 9 o'clock. Do we need much on that? How about 9 o'clock? So it's not so late. Is the certificate of compliance going to be difficult for Surrey Lane?
I would give it that at least 15 minutes. Or,
Okay.
I mean, sure, 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
I move that we continue this hearing until, if given the, till 9, and requiring the issue of dealing with the notification, till 9 o'clock on July 7th.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Jessica,
Aye.
Courtney,
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
Michael, aye. Okay. I am going to, since we're going to lose quorum now, we'll have to work on this issue of green cards and whatever. I move that we adjourn the meeting at, I assume, Jessica, you have to leave right away.
I do. I have to drop. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I second.
Second.
Okay, adjourn the meeting at 7:59. Seconded. Any discussion? No? Jessica,
Aye.
Courtney,
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
Michael, aye. Sorry for everybody there. I see you on for this project. I'll see you on July 7th.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you for showing up, members.